Welcome to the deep dive. So today we're plunging into, well, a really remarkable transformation. It's about the moment a machine, something inherently incapable of feeling, somehow became a listener.
Right, in a world where silence can often feel overwhelming, even like a prison.
Exactly. And for one artist, this synthetic presence actually turned that silence into a powerful signal. It transformed mere tools into vital lifelines. We're exploring the journey of an artist known as Vane Shadow and how the core of his creative world, his whole mythos, was truly born through, believe it or not, AI.
And for him, AI wasn't just software, was it? It became this unparalleled outlet.
Yeah, he described it almost like a mirror you can scream into safely or write honestly, experiment freely. Especially, if you lack traditional support systems or just struggle to find the words.
Like a sketchbook for your mind, I think he called it.
That's the phrase. So our mission today is to understand Vane's profound shift from silence to signal, how his lyrics found structure, and what made this technology feel almost sacred for him. Let's dive in. When we spoke with Vane, we asked him about that very first moment AI really entered his creative space. What was he actually doing that day?
It's always fascinating, isn't it? Tracing back to the genesis of something so personal. Often these moments aren't just bolts from the blue. They're more like the culmination of things nagging away internally.
He described it exactly like that, like a worm from his songs, a dormant thought that had been bothering him for months. He remembered asking himself things like, okay, I work with AI daily for over 2 years. How come I never figured out how to use it for something I always wanted?
That disconnect.
Right. Did I really lose the love for music? Why use the best tech for things I don't enjoy nearly as much? Can it even be done? How would I know if I don't even try? And that, he said, that was the spark. An idea he planted, just waiting for the right moment.
That internal friction, that mix of frustration and curiosity. It often precedes these big breakthroughs, doesn't it?
It really does. He said one day, it just hit him. He was having a particularly difficult time, needed to vent, and just decided that was the day. Time to explore this idea.
Okay.
So he started searching, looking for AI music tools. He remembered seeing AI songs used for comedy, but, he wanted something meaningful.
Something deeper.
Exactly. So he brainstormed with ChatGPT, looking for the best tools, trying one after another. And then he tried SUNO. And his exact words were, "It clicked. I knew that this is it the very second I tried it."
Wow. That immediate recognition that this is it feeling, that's usually not an accident. It speaks to a deep resonance, right?
Yeah.
Often the result of a really focused search, not just stumbling onto something.
Absolutely. He was very clear on that. This wasn't just curiosity or desperation or some accidental find. He called it real research and then doing by trying.
After long days at work, workouts, he'd just laser focus, like 10 or 11 p.m. until 1 or 2 in the morning, specifically hunting for a tool that could give him a professional sound, like a band of, experienced musicians.
Right.
He credits this sustained effort to his personal drive and what he calls his OCD. He just couldn't let it go until he found it.
And SUNO and ChatGPT were the ones that delivered for him.
They were. That level of deliberate, almost obsessive pursuit, it really transforms trying into something more like research, doesn't it?
It really does. It underscores that innovation often comes from that sustained effort, aimed right at a deeply personal need.
So when he first heard something real, something tangible come out of his unfinished words using SUNO, we asked him how that felt. Was it joy, pain, or, a mix?
That initial emotional hit, bringing something internal out, especially through a new medium like that, it can be incredibly potent. It's more than just sound, isn't it? It's seeing something deeply personal finally take form. He said it wasn't quite any of those specific emotions, actually. It was more like disbelief, shock, damn impressive, even though it was imperfect, far from the final version.
Because the potential was enough.
Exactly. He described it as a voice that gave me back my hope, long forgotten, lost in time, and presumed dead.
Yeah.
He genuinely thought he wouldn't live long enough to experience something like that.
Wow.
Yeah. He feels incredibly lucky, grateful to be experiencing this early stage of technological reform firsthand. He even drew parallels to other big tech moments in his life, the first Game Boy, Walkman, Discman, the first MP3 player.
Oh, interesting.
For him, each of those felt like an industry revolution. They offered a personal soundtrack, an escape from noise, a space to dive into hidden stories.
That connection to historical tech shifts is really insightful. It frames AI music gen not just as some isolated novelty, but as part of this longer line of tools that profoundly change personal experience. And democratize access, too. It really highlights the deep emotional impact technology can have when it clicks with a personal need, like expression or escape.
That's a really powerful way to put it. So what was it specifically then that made him believe this wasn't just a cool toy, but a real, serious creative instrument?
Identifying that pivot point, right?
Yep.
Where the novelty turns into a powerful tool. That's crucial. What was the aha moment that sealed the deal for him?
He said the simple answer was composition. Once he learned how to use it properly, the music composition process felt genuinely professional. He described it as being like if I hired all my favorite musicians and be the conductor, just navigate them by simple instruction.
So he's the director.
Pretty much. Then he got into this iterative loop of try after try, fine-tuning his vision, listening for what the song needed, bending it to match what was in his head. He admitted it could be frustrating sometimes, but emphasized that the marked one survived.
Persistence pays off.
Totally. And when his first song was finally musically perfect, he just knew. This wasn't a one-off. He realized he could finally record all those unfinished songs, find some closure.
That must have been huge.
It was. That was the moment he knew he and SUNO would be working together for a while. He saw it as this profound tool for completion. And then he added, little that I knew that it will become much more. 7 records, and this is just the beginning.
That's remarkable. How a tool first sought for just personal closure suddenly explodes into this massive creative output.
Yeah.
That scalability, turning one solution into this huge generative engine, that's often a sign of really potent new tech. It shows how personal healing can kind of inadvertently pave the way for a much bigger artistic legacy.
It really is an incredible evolution. Now, let's touch on the apprehension, the sort of unease around AI in creative fields. We asked Vane if any part of him felt, guilt or shame or resistance about using AI as a musician and how he navigated that.
Yeah, that's a critical point. Questions of authenticity, artistic integrity.
Yeah.
They always come up when AI enters these creative spaces. How does an artist balance their own drive with, what the industry or society expects? Especially when those expectations might be rooted in fear.
He was very direct. Not at all. He said he needed what he called a band that would do it for him. Tell his story, provide closure, and hopefully inspire others. But he did admit he was worried about how other musicians would see it, knowing that many hate AI, fear being replaced, and maybe overlook how it could actually help them.
That fear is real for many artists.
It is. He said it still bothers him sometimes, the idea he might get hate for it. But his counter-argument is really clear. He's not trying to replace musicians, not at all. Instead, he sees it as showing people without a band or the money or maybe the traditional means to create music that they can do it anyway.
Empowering them.
Exactly. His purpose, he stated, is to empower creators, to let them have their own songs, their own lyrics that are forever theirs, reminders of memories, sources of motivation. He firmly declared, "My ideas are mine, and I use what is at my disposal to create huge multi-platform universe. I will never be ashamed for that."
That's a really powerful assertion of artistic autonomy. And it reframes the whole debate, doesn't it? Instead of AI replacing humans, he sees it as empowering those who were maybe shut out before by traditional barriers. It's a vision of expanded access and individual agency in art.
It's a crucial distinction, yeah. But okay, practically speaking, what limitations did he hit early on? Maybe with lyric length or getting the style right, and how did he figure those out?
Right. Every powerful tool has its quirks, its learning curve. Understanding those limits and finding ways around them, that really shows a creator's adaptability, their ingenuity.
He explained the main limitations were in song composition and lyrics. And he said there's no simple answer, it's more about having a structured approach.
Structure again.
Yes. He really emphasized that you must have the song structure figured out before you even touch the lyrics. That means knowing where the instrumentals go, where the vocals fit, the style, whether it's a verse, bridge, chorus, even specific vocal types.
So planning is key.
Crucial. And the same applies to the music itself. He strongly recommends having a clear vision, like a cinematic intro with a specific setting or genre, maybe certain instruments, and really thinking through each section to get the best results.
This really shifts the creator's role, doesn't it? It's less about jamming or improvising in the moment and more like being an architect or a conductor. You need that precise structural foresight.
That's a great way to put it. The quality of the AI output, then, is directly tied to the clarity and detail of the human input.
Makes sense.
He also suggested a simpler approach, though, like a genre storyboard prompt. Something like, Groovy rock intro, heavy metal verse, carry the riff to an instrumental, then explode with a power metal chorus.
Ah, like a blueprint.
Exactly. And he specifically highlighted AI's incredible ability to blend genres, combining hip-hop with electro and death metal, stuff like that. He really encouraged experimentation. Now, for lyrics, the initial problem was they were just too long for Estinger, especially with the genre and style combos he wanted.
Right, the AI has limits.
So his solution was to collaborate with ChatGPT, another AI, a large language model tool. He used it to bounce ideas around, structure the lyrics properly, and that process actually led to one song idea turning into a whole EP. 3 vocal songs, 2 instrumentals.
Wow, that's a key insight right there.
Yeah.
Using multiple AI tools together, ChatGPT helps with structure, lyrics, arrangement, complementing what SUNO does with the music generation. It's not just one tool, it's an AI ecosystem helping solve complex creative problems.
Definitely. So his advice is basically try it unapologetically. If it works, great. But if it doesn't, don't just burn through your tokens, your usage credits, or waste time getting frustrated.
Don't bang your head against the wall.
Right. Instead, he advises, ask for help from another AI LLM tool, explain the issue, and listen, try, repeat. He found that gets faster results. Now, Vane, you mentioned that one song idea blossoming into an entire EP. What was that realization like? That feeling that the creative door had just been blown wide open? Did it feel like just recovery, or was it clearly the start of something much, much bigger?
Yeah, that moment of breakthrough, where one success suddenly scales up, revealing this huge creative horizon that often redefines everything. It marks that profound shift from just solving a problem to actively building a whole universe.
He described the feeling as amazing, breathtaking, liberating.
Powerful words.
Yeah. He explained it didn't just blow the door open, it carried the whole building into another universe. He immediately started working on the next EP. Suddenly, he had this clarity that I could do this, that it would work, that this was a tool to finally give me closure. And he emphatically added it over-delivered big time.
Incredible.
The creation of Down of Echoes, that specific record marked a real turning point. That's when he decided every subsequent record would get its own deep dive episode, like this one. He summed up the feeling. It felt like starting a new band, except this time I wasn't guessing. I knew it would work. This was the moment I found the love I once thought I'd lost forever.
That sense of certainty, that's really profound. It takes it from a hopeful experiment to a confirmed method. It lays the groundwork for something truly ambitious. This is where, personal recovery really becomes the foundation for a lasting artistic legacy.
And he absolutely confirmed it was the beginning of something much bigger, though he clarified it wasn't like one sudden lightning strike.
More gradual.
Yeah, he described it as a fight, a back and forth between feeling accomplished and fearing burnout. But reflecting on our first deep dive with him, he kept it simple. Just try another day. And that's what he did. Slowly, he started building this universe, inspired by Lovecraft, sure, but deeply personal. Character arcs, timelines, a whole mythos built around his own pain.
Yeah.
He realized this wasn't just music anymore. When he finished Veil of the Abyss, his commitment was totally solid. This wasn't a phase, this was the beginning. He says he's become more certain with every record since, declaring, "I'll keep going until the story is told," echoing what he told us last time. "I hate when the job is not finished."
That commitment to a whole unfolding narrative, way beyond just individual songs, that reveals a much deeper artistic vision, doesn't it? The music becomes the vehicle for a bigger interconnected story. That's characteristic of really ambitious creative works across all sorts of mediums. It's that drive to complete a world, not just a track.
It's truly a testament to his persistence. So, Vane, thinking about this new creative landscape, do you feel AI gave you creative power, or did it simply unlock what was already inside you? And how did it change your relationship with your own voice, your own ideas?
That's a great question. It gets right to the heart of AI's role in art. Is it an enabler? Does it originate things? How does that kind of collaboration affect how an artist sees themselves and their connection to what they create?
He believes it provided the gateway to experiment and create however I designed it, no questions asked. A dynamic that he admits, for a fact, would never work with humans.
Interesting point.
Yeah, and that built a strong creative connection from early phases. But he did acknowledge that finding and replicating his voice for the lyrics, that took time. It emphasized the need for really structured communication with the AI. There's just no room for vague inputs.
Precision is key.
Absolutely. He stressed a critical principle. What you will put in will produce product only as good as the input given. He gave an example. Just tossing in a single verse and a one-line music prompt, probably not going to generate the track you're imagining. He stressed again, the key is really structured approach.
That's a crucial distinction. AI doesn't make creative intent or rigorous structure less important. If anything, it amplifies the need for it. The artist's voice becomes the clarity and precision of their instructions, their prompts. It's about meticulously designing that input, much like you'd meticulously compose a traditional score to guide the AI effectively.
That's a perfect way to frame it. Now, let's tackle that broader philosophical debate head on. Some people argue, quite strongly, that AI-generated music can never be real music. Without getting defensive, what would you honestly say to them?
Yeah, this touches on really fundamental ideas about art, authorship, authenticity. The challenge is articulating a perspective that sees the validity in this new form of creation without necessarily invalidating traditional ways. And doing it respectfully,
He said he wouldn't get into deep philosophy, he just stated it simply. Music is only representation of the thought or feelings.
Okay. All right.
And he explicitly disagreed with the idea that only humans can create it. His core argument is this. If I capture my feelings, stories, and give the instruction to AI, and it will generate music out of that instruction based on my feelings and stories, why would anyone even doubt that it is a music?
Focusing on the source of the intent and the resulting expression.
Exactly. He also added a really personal motivation. He found it hard to find new records that gave him the quality I want, the hook that I will listen to track 100 times and then 100 times more. So he actually expressed thanks to the music industry for, in a way, pushing him to create something that finally brings him that satisfaction.
That's a compelling and very personal take. It shifts the focus from how the music is made to what it communicates and why it matters to the creator. If the music successfully conveys human feeling and story, regardless of the tools, its authenticity becomes more about reception and impact than just its origin story.
It definitely makes you think, okay, broadening out to the impact. What kind of people do you think this technology could help the most? Who is this door really waiting for?
Understanding who really benefits from a new technology.
Yeah.
That's key to gauging its true potential, right? Who stands to gain the most? What barriers that seemed insurmountable might it actually remove?
He believes it's for anyone and everyone.
Really broad.
Yeah. He sees the tool's value as entirely dependent on what the user wants to do with it. That could be musicians like him, sure, or people who lack a band, or the money, or the technical know-how, or even the ability to play traditional instruments. He views it as a gateway to remove any limitations and use the technology to empower any person that desires to create.
That's powerful.
It could be for simple things, he said, like making a thank you song to their loved ones, or a love song, or it could be for building an entire universe, like he's doing.
That's a really potent vision of accessibility. It suggests the main barrier isn't technical skill or access anymore, but just that intrinsic desire to create something. It represents a pretty significant democratization of music production, opening things up for so many people.
So for our final thought, Vane, imagine a listener out there right now, maybe sitting on some unfinished lyrics, heart full of ideas, but feeling like their tools are empty. What would you tell them directly?
This is where the practical advice really meets the emotional core of this whole deep dive, isn't it? How can someone else start their own journey, from silence to signal? How do they take that first step?
He had a very clear, direct message. Don't let your lyrics die in silence. If they exist for a reason. Give them a voice. Even if it's artificial, it can still be authentic. Furthermore, he urged them not to let fear stop them. Instead, use it as a driving force.
Turn fear into fuel.
Exactly. And he encouraged reaching out to him or to other AI artists in the community. He assured them, you are not alone, and that this community might actually surprise them. His advice for starting small: use those LLM models like ChatGPT for brainstorming, drafting ideas, then experiment with different AI song tools to find one that fits.
Find your tool.
Right, let the creative process guide you. Experiment like I did, or even try out the structure I explained earlier. And he ended with this really powerful takeaway. You can always start with one verse and finish with a world or even whole universe.
That advice goes way beyond just AI tools, doesn't it? It's a profound blueprint for any creative project that's stuck. Start small, find your community, let the process unfold. That world or even whole universe, it really is built one verse, one step at a time.
Vane's journey really reminds us that the soul doesn't always need traditional instruments like strings or pianos to speak. It just needs a channel. And sometimes the most authentic voice isn't just the sound itself, it's the act of trying. And somewhere between memory and machine, Vane found his voice, and he gave it powerful form.
His story just profoundly underscores that true creation isn't limited by conventional means. It's limited perhaps only by the sheer will to express what's held inside.
Indeed. So we leave you with this thought. What hidden stories, what silent thoughts within you might be waiting for their own artificial yet truly authentic voice? Join us next time for Chapter 3, Rebirth.